to season 2 of What You Don't See, the podcast. And today we have a very special guest, my husband, Omar Ochoa.
Thank you all for letting me crash the party. I've always wanted to, and I'm so glad I finally had the chance.
You haven't even seen any of the podcasts yet, have you?
I have, yeah.
Oh, you see?
I'm telling
you,
in a
you'd be
previous
surprised.
episode, I said, I don't think my husband has ever seen a single
I know.
episode.
Well, it's okay. It's entertaining to say that, but not true.
That's not true.
Okay, but we're here to talk about a very, very interesting topic because he and I recently went through an embryo freezing journey. The embryos are currently frozen.
They're waiting.
And
nice.
we will...
Five babies, right?
Yeah.
5. Oh, how exciting.
We ended up with 5 embryos, super healthy, 3 boys, 2 girls. And they had the genetic testing done, which is crazy that you can like do all this testing on it.
To see
To
what?
make sure that they're okay?
Make sure that they have all their chromosomes, that there's no weird like genetic
Yeah, I didn't know.
mutations.
Wow, that is so awesome.
Yeah.
Just to make sure that they're healthy
children.
babies.
Healthy
Yeah.
babies. Wow.
Yeah, it's like a very, very scientific process. So
Can you
Yeah,
pick their
exactly.
IQ?
imagine, can you test their IQ?
Yeah.
Can you put blue eyes and that kind of
No
stuff?
designer babies.
No designer.
No.
Okay, why did you freeze them?
I'll let Omar talk.
Oh, yeah. So, we've been married for, 2.5 years now, right? Yeah. And so, it became apparent, right, pretty early on that we would need science help in order to have kids because we both do. We both wanted children.
Basically, even though we were never trying to get pregnant, I never got pregnant, which we found weird, So
Right. And so, that led to us kind of just trying to figure out, well, what do we do about this? What's the next step? And, maybe I'm fast forwarding a little bit, but I just never realized how many people go through this, right?
Yeah.
Once we,
A lot.
started
Yeah.
telling people about our process, I mean, I was literally getting reached out by people I hadn't seen or heard from in years who were encouraging us, telling us about their story, how they went through it. And so I just never imagined and never really knew.
So I've gotten so many messages from women who are like, I went through IVF, and I'm like, why have you never talked about it? Like, what?
IVF is the same thing as embryo freezing?
It's the same process, but some couples decide to freeze their embryos even though they can have kids because they want healthy embryos at a young age. You know what I mean? Because the older you get, the less.
I feel like for myself, like the reason why I would want to do it is because I'm already 36 years old. So I want to get my, like you said, my healthiest eggs. And if I'm not planning to get pregnant anytime soon, then I'll have
to do it now
whenever
while you have healthy eggs.
Exactly. Yeah. Freeze them right now.
Yeah, that was definitely Leah's thing. So she turned 35, right,
Yeah.
recently. I'm not disclosing anything.
Leah posts everything.
So she turned 35 recently, and like we were literally on the clock. Gotta get the eggs out before she turns 35. She was so worried that her eggs were gonna turn to dust inside of her body on the day she turned 35.
When I
about
saw
women.
that you had, the 20 extracted and then 5 of them super healthy, and I'm only a year older than you, I told Albert, I'm like, dude, we're on time. Like, we're good. Like,
Exactly.
it's possible,
I, for whatever reason, because they say like after 35,
Yes.
like you have like your eggs like go to shit or whatever.
Yeah.
So literally a week before I turned 35 was the date of my egg retrieval. And it was like 26 eggs is an insane amount of eggs. And then 21 got successfully fertilized. And then of those, 8 developed into the embryos, like full embryos. And then of the 8, 5 passed all the genetic testing.
So what do you do after that?
Have them all. I just
Have them all.
I don't understand.
question.
So what do you like?
Okay, so right now they're frozen. When we decide to get pregnant,
they'll put them inside.
we'll choose the embryo that we want because we choose the exact embryo we want because they grade the embryos. They say of your 5 embryos, this one's the healthiest, then this one, then this one, then this one, then
And you
this
can
one.
choose if you want a boy or a girl too.
So we're gonna start with the healthiest embryo, obviously.
Was it a boy or a girl?
We're not saying yet.
I
Which
love
I'm glad
that.
she told me. I almost blurted it
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
And she said, we're not telling anybody.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Yes,
So
yes.
like
Yeah, that's
literally
good.
right now we
That's
know
good.
what we're
I already
having.
have a feeling.
Oh, we're not saying we're not confirming or denying. We know what we're having.
So the new house, you now you're able to
Yes.
build
Yes.
with. Okay, this is gonna be.
Yes.
But it's
Per
not
room.
100% that it's gonna, like, are you sure it's gonna, like, it's complete? It's 100%?
No, I mean
No.
anything can happen. Like I mean, I could still miscarry.
Yeah.
You know what
It's
I
still a
mean?
normal pregnancy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the risks, right, and everything that comes together with
They
that. It's
just joined them
the
together.
embryo.
They joined the sperm and the egg
Yes,
together.
they fertilized
Yeah.
the egg with the sperm.
It's like a tube baby.
Yeah, they put it in a position where it was the easiest and most optimal for the two to join.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we already know what we're having, but it's gonna be a surprise.
We're not
Yeah,
saying-
yeah. I love
Yeah.
that.
No, don't
Yes.
say it. Don't say
Keep
it.
it to yourself.
Yeah,
Yes,
we're
I
keeping
love that.
it to ourselves.
We have to be at the gender reveal.
But
Exciting.
because thankfully our embryos are so healthy, the chance of miscarriage is really low because usually when you miscarry, it's because the embryo is not viable, right? Like you miscarry because it's not a healthy embryo. So because these embryos are so healthy, it reduces the risk of miscarriage, but it doesn't completely erase the risk of miscarriage. So there still could be miscarriage.
Could you have two at the same time?
Yes.
Yeah.
Would they be considered twins?
Yes.
Or
For
So you could potentially implant two of the embryos, right, and have twins at the same time, or you can implant one embryo and still the biological process of the split happens, right? So a natural twin. So it's still possible. Yeah.
Oh.
Even
I
if
know,
they,
yes.
even if
I
they
love
implant
that.
one embryo, there's still the possibility that it splits and becomes twins.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
Have a
That's
feature.
exciting.
I
5 could turn to
know.
10.
I was gonna say, oh guys, that's like
No, it's not
10.
gonna
Or triplets. I mean,
Triplets?
So one thing we have considered is implanting two to have boy-girl
Twins.
twins.
yeah.
But at my age, it's very high risk. I mean, twins is always high risk.
Yeah.
Like it's always high risk, but me being 35 is even more high risk.
I
So
had Scarlett I was 36 when I got pregnant, and I had her when I was almost 37.
Yeah.
I was 37, and then I had Sephora. I got pregnant at 39, and I had her at 40.
yeah, for a single baby, it's pretty,
How about a surrogate mother for the twins? Like
So
maybe
I-
you do the first
yes.
one just so you could experience childbirth.
Yeah.
Right?
And then
And
having
then the
twins,
second one,
yeah.
hey.
A surrogate.
Yes.
I thought about that too. Like the first one, I'll do it to
Yeah.
like experience it and then have twins with like a, I don't know.
I asked my
19-year-old.
sister.
Yeah,
super
somebody-
healthy. Super
That she's
healthy.
gonna
You ask your
rebound.
I asked my
Quick.
sister. She would have my baby, and and I'll pay you for the buddy work. She's like, she was thinking about it. She was. Yeah.
I would have done that for one of my sisters.
Yeah.
Yes. I think I would. I was even thinking of doing it for one of my friends years
No
ago.
way.
Yes. But then he dated a girl with a bunch of kids, and those were his kids. And there he is. Yeah.
So let's talk about the process leading up to the egg retrieval date.
Yes, absolutely. So, I guess step number one really was finding a clinic because there are lots of options. But we did our research on it. We got some recommendations from friends, people who had gone through different clinics. Read online as to the benefits and drawbacks. The one we ended up picking came with really good reviews. And one of the big benefits of it is they do a lot of the work in-house, right? So they don't do their lab work, for example, sending
it
it somewhere
out.
else. They do it all there. And so, we felt we had a meeting with the doctor who ended up being, our doctor through the process, and just felt really comfortable. And so it was an obvious choice for us, and I'm glad that we did it. So picking the clinic was kind of step number one.
We chose a clinic in Houston, which really complicated things for us because we're both so busy. And leading up to egg retrieval date, they were doing my blood work and vaginal ultrasound daily. So daily.
You were flying, right?
I flew back and forth like 3 times, and then once it turned into daily, I spent like a week over there. Yeah.
Wow.
And Omar's in the middle of a campaign, so
Yeah.
he flew back and forth, and it was like you have to inject yourself daily. It starts off with 1 injection in the morning,
Inject
one in
yourself
the.
with what?
I don't know, medication. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
Do you?
it's a whole regimen of hormone
Hormones,
injections, stimulus of follicles.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I won't pretend to know that I have knowledge of the whole process, but it was a lot of needles.
It was, and it's medication that stimulates ovulation, but like intense ovulation, so that they can get as many eggs as
Did
possible.
it hurt at all?
The injections?
process, anything?
No.
Well, obviously, I wasn't the one taking it.
Yeah.
I would say physically,
Physically,
it didn't seem like it. She was really good, but it takes a mental
Yeah, it
toll,
does.
right? To get
It
that
does.
many times.
No, and all the traveling and going back and forth.
It was an extremely
the
stressful.
expenses, yeah.
Yeah.
You gave yourself the shot, or they would shoot you up like.
So Omar would make the shot because you have to mix things, and then I insisted on injecting myself because because I can't let I would be mad at him if he injected me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
And it hurt.
yes, exactly. Like I'd rather have the control myself. So, and some of the needles are bigger than the only one. No, even in my butt, I injected it, right? I don't think I let you inject it. The one that goes in your butt, it's called a trigger injection. That's when it's like, okay, your ovaries look amazing. We're going to do the trigger injection, and then we're doing the retrieval in 48 hours. So
How many weeks did you get injected?
it was like 2 weeks.
I think,
It was like 2 weeks.
At least 2 to 3 times a day.
Yes.
Yes, exactly.
For 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, that's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
And you're on a schedule, right?
You're on a
And
schedule.
You know the dosage, you know the time that you're supposed to do it, and so whatever it is you're doing, you got to drop, right?
Yeah.
To get it. And it actually happened a couple of times where we were in the middle of something and had to just
Yeah.
go get this done.
His family was throwing a party for him, and I was like, we can't go until we do this injection. And it was our first time doing it. We didn't know what we were doing. And his sister was like, where are you? The whole family's here waiting for you. He's like, I'm sorry. I have to inject Leah.
Yeah. And as soon as she found out what we were doing, she's like, oh, take your time.
Yeah, it really is.
Babies to come out.
I will say that if you choose a local clinic, it'll make your life so much easier. But we just had so much faith in this particular clinic because their success rate is so good that we were like, no, we're going to do it with them. So you're injecting yourself, and then the morning of egg retrieval, we got there, and it was the smoothest, most professional experience ever. I mean, the way they walk you through it, they prepare you for it. They're like, I cannot recommend this clinic enough. It's called CCRM. And they're in Houston, Colorado, and like several different states. So they put you under anesthesia when they do the retrieval. And you're under
How long?
20 minutes.
Oh.
Yeah, it's very
It's
fast.
very fast. I had my whole office in a bag set up. I have multiple monitors, a computer.
Yeah.
So I love to be able to work, comfortably when I'm away. So I took it all with me. By the time I finished setting it up, they were like, she's ready. I'm like, she's ready. What? I just got started.
Yeah.
It was very
I
fast.
just connected to the Wi-Fi.
So when you're laying there, they just pull out your eggs.
Yes. So imagine you're getting a pap smear, right?
Okay.
So they get you in the position.
It's okay.
they get you in a position for a pap
We
smear.
don't need a visual.
I know. Why did I do that? And then they're like, and then they put you to sleep, and then you wake up and you're back in your recovery room.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you didn't have pain
No pain.
doing that?
Zero pain. When I woke up, I had mild cramping, and that's it.
Kind of like a pap smear.
And in fact,
Yeah.
we flew back home
The
That same day.
a couple hours
couple
later.
hours later. Yeah. Probably not
Wow.
supposed to do that, but
Yeah.
I was so desperate to get home. Yeah. So
Because you had already been up there a whole
I'd already
week.
been up there living in the hotel for like a whole week, and I was bored, and I was away from my office and working remotely, and I was ready to be back home. So once I was out of the procedure, they wheel you out in a wheelchair because you're still coming off of the anesthesia, and then we changed our flights to where we had breakfast, and then we took off to the airport. Yeah. Yeah, and I highly, it's very expensive. I will not lie and say that this is an affordable process.
Yeah.
It cost us what? 25, maybe 25,000 all in for everything, plus hotel, plus flights, everything. Maybe 25 to 30,000 is what I would guess. But I highly recommend for women and couples who are looking into it to check with your health insurance, because some plans do cover part of it. Mine did not, but check with your health insurance and see if they cover some of it, because it is very pricey. That's the only downside to all of this, is that it's not as accessible as I would like for it to be for, you know, couples struggling to get pregnant, but it is so worth it.
Yeah, it's a real thing, and I commend the companies that are adding it as a benefit, right, for their employees, and I hope more people do that, because you're right, it is an expensive process, but
it should be part of the insurance.
I was going to say, and a lot of people, I mean, we would not be able to have children without being able to go through this process.
Yeah.
So you guys had tried before, or
No. We had never tried, but we don't use protection.
So
I
that
don't
just-
either, and I never got pregnant, so that's why I'm like, dude, it's been
there's
like 8
probably,
fucking
there's
years.
probably,
It's been 8 years.
oh, well then you're probably something's wrong.
Something.
Yeah.
So my
Yeah.
sister hadn't been married for like 5-6 years, and she never got pregnant. And then she went in, and it ended up being that she had cysts in her body.
Ovarian cysts.
So they went in and they had to remove several of them. They went in and removed them, and I want to say within the next 6-7 months,
She got pregnant.
She got pregnant. She got pregnant. She had three boys.
Wow.
Yeah, no,
amazing.
we've never tried, but I've also
you
never
also
gotten
don't use
and don't use
protection.
protection at all. Like
So
no birth
then-
control,
yeah.
no.
That's like the
condoms,
same.
nothing. Yeah.
We were never like, let's get
Yeah,
pregnant.
yeah, us
But
either.
it's like, okay,
If it
we've
happens,
been
it happens.
together.
But you know what,
and
Leah?
It's not
I
happening.
like this process better, like because you know what's happening. Like it's kind of like you have
You
a
get to
little
plan it.
control,
Yeah.
and you
Yep.
get to plan it. Compared to, dude, like, and what if, is it healthy? Is it not healthy?
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Yeah.
Nowadays, there's
Nowadays,
so much autism.
yeah.
There's so much going on that
know.
being able to choose
You
a
want
healthy
a
The
healthy
genet-
baby.
They
I
do
had
the
to
genetic
get
testing.
posed pregnant so they could do the genetics, because I was older, and they were like, we need to verify whether your child, you know, how
Yeah.
your child's going to be. Do you want
Yeah.
to get the testing? And Marty was like, yes, let's get
Yeah.
the testing.
Yeah,
He was like,
yeah.
yes, let's get her tested. And I was like, motherfucker, I get tested. And he
You
was
love
like,
it, sister.
I'm not
Yeah.
carrying a baby, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, we definitely, we got tested just to make sure that the baby was healthy. So
Yeah.
there's
I
a
remember that
lot.
happening with Diego. They tested me to make sure he was okay. And I think
But
they
you
do
were
that
in your
through-
20s.
I was 20.
Well, they
now.
now do it to
Through your
everybody.
belly
Yeah, I was
button.
gonna say, I
Yeah.
think they do that to everybody.
They
I
do
don't
test you,
know-
yeah, for
Yeah.
genetic. They do the
Yeah.
Through
genetic
your belly
testing.
button?
Through your belly
Through
button.
your belly, yeah.
Yes. Because I remember that conversation. I don't know about RJ. I was 19. I was a baby,
Yeah.
so I probably don't even remember what happened to me.
Yeah.
But with Diego, I do remember getting tested.
Yeah. It's, I mean, to me, it's peace of mind that we know that all 5 of these embryos tested,
They're healthy,
they're
healthy babies. Yeah.
and then they're even ranked from healthiest to least healthiest, even though they're all
That's
healthy.
so crazy
Yeah.
to me, but that's awesome. Like I would
know.
want to know that too.
Yeah, so we
Yeah.
already know.
And then have options. You know, and
There's so many
and you can have
options.
twins, or you can get
Yeah.
triplets, or you can, you know, have a
There's-
How do
surrogate.
they
Or
make them with blue eyes? Like,
I don't know how people do that. I've never.
that is so weird.
I didn't know
that
people
is
could
so
do that.
weird.
Now that's
Yeah.
like fucking with science a little too much.
Yeah.
I don't think they actually do that.
Yeah.
Do they actually
don't?
do
I
that?
I think they do.
They
yeah.
do. They
yeah.
do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I would not want to go that
Well, you
far.
can change your eye color.
Now you
Now.
can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's this influencer that he changed his eye color from brown to like this
Teal.
ocean blue.
What?
Yes.
Yeah,
it's
you can do that
crazy.
now. I saw it somewhere in Europe.
What?
Yeah.
I send it. I send it to my mom. She's like, "Don't
man.
fucking think about it."
No.
My dad has like super like teal, like that color, like beautiful
Blue
eyes,
eyes.
and my sister, and I was like,
And me?
and me, like.
You have beautiful
So
bright
I
brown
send it. I
eyes.
send it to her, and she's like, "Don't even fucking think about it. Like, don't fucking
do
do
it.
their
Don't do it.
eyes. Like, you don't know what that is."
I know my
like,
brothers. Both my
Yeah.
brothers have green eyes.
Really?
Yeah.
Aw.
And none of us have
Yeah,
green
no.
eyes.
Just my sister got the green eyes.
My daughters all had brown. Marty's got pretty blue-green.
Omar's mom has beautiful, beautiful
Lydia?
Blue.
Yes.
blue,
No, green.
blue green. They're very beautiful. Maybe one of our
Yes.
5. Maybe
Yes.
one of
It's
our
like
5.
a splash.
Yeah.
Right? In the sunlight, you can see it. It's like God took a green in his fingers and went. "Ooh."
Yeah.
Just a couple of
When
yeah,
in the sun, you
sparkles.
can see the green. But
That's my brother, in the
What would
sun.
you tell women that are trying to go through the process or are thinking about it?
I would say, okay, let's remove the man from the situation, right? Say you're a woman, you're single, you know you eventually want to be a mom, you don't have a partner. Do not get desperate and find just any guy to have
A
kids
baby
with, because it could end up ruining your life. What I would say is save up and freeze your eggs.
I would totally recommend that.
I
too.
would say save up and freeze your eggs in your maybe 20s, early 30s, so that you have, like, you know, okay, I have healthy eggs that can eventually get fertilized, and I know I can be a mom. Because I do feel like some women are like, well, I'm already 30, I need to get married, I need to have kids, I'm just gonna marry whoever, and then it ends up being the worst decision of their life. It's, you know, an abuser, a cheater, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So removing the man from the situation, I would say save up and freeze your eggs, because then you have that peace of mind, you know, that like you can find a donor.
Yeah, I
And-
wish I would have known or thought about doing this when I was like 25, 27.
good,
you know,
I'm sure.
No, I mean, I know I'm good, but I would have liked to do it or would have done it earlier, you know.
A lot
down.
of girls
Yeah.
don't even consider it an option because there's not enough awareness or education, plus the price. It is expensive. But I would say really like consider it. And then for couples, I would say, because they put you on birth control, and that made me crazy.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Oh,
I
couldn't
was-
That's why I don't take
imagine.
birth control, girl.
Yeah.
Because I go
That's
freaking
why
crazy.
I've never taken birth
I
control.
don't take it because I go
I go
crazy.
crazy.
I was
Yeah.
on the verge of tears daily while I was on birth for like
For no reason, yeah.
and I was like, Omar, you need to do research on what I'm going through, because you're not being
Empathetic.
She did.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, you need to get on your phone
it's
and you need to
horrible.
do research on what I'm
What's
going
going on,
through
yeah.
for us, because I'm going through a lot. And he did, and he was very patient throughout the whole process. So for couples, I would say be patient with each other, because what the woman's body is going
Yeah.
through with all of those hormones is so intense. And even though physically it's not painful, it takes a toll on your mental health.
Oh yeah.
So-
anything
Yeah.
hurts you.
Yeah.
It's like you're like taking time bomb.
Yeah.
I remember I had to.
Yeah, a little bit.
I only took them for like a few months when I was in my early 20s, but I was the meanest person. I was angry, I was crying, it was horrible.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was, no, I won't,
Same.
I won't put
I
my
would
body through that.
never.
I would so the birth control pills was the worst of it for me. After 2 weeks of birth control, then you start the injections. I'd rather inject myself 100 times than take birth control
Yeah.
pills. That's how crazy it
How
made
long
me
were you
feel.
on birth control pills?
2 weeks. Yeah. And
Every
it was
day?
every day
Yeah.
for 2 weeks, and then they put you on the injections. And for whatever reason, the injections, even though it is a lot of hormones, did not have the same effect on me as the birth control pills. That was the worst part. The injections sucked. I mean, it sucks to inject yourself, but I felt fine. So that was the worst of it. And then, oh my God, I forgot. I thought I was trying to bounce back too fast, right? So the next day I started drinking alcohol. And you're not supposed to mix anesthesia and alcohol. And I was like, I'm fine. I feel great. I'm like healthy. And I had a glass of wine. Biggest mistake ever. I destroyed Omar's car. I threw up everywhere. Projectile vomiting.
That's a different type of ticking time bomb.
Yeah.
But it exploded, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my
He-
goodness.
It was like, what, maybe 5 or 6 times that I threw up?
It was a lot.
Oh
I lost count.
wow.
And he pulled over and
You out.
no, thankfully he had a ton of campaign shirts in the back seat, and he started grabbing them, and I was like throwing up into the campaign shirts, and it was disgusting, honestly. It was disgusting. I don't know how he didn't throw up watching.
We
Yeah.
have not given out those campaign shirts. by the way. So that everybody knows you are not wearing one of them.
Is your campaign shirt washed?
No.
Those got thrown away, and I remember we were supposed to meet our moms for dinner
right.
to celebrate it being done, and we just had to have dinner at the house because
You were feeling off.
I mean, don't drink after
Yeah.
after anesthesia. But I think it was like the process was pretty smooth. It is difficult, but my advice is to be if you're a couple, be patient with each other. If you're a single woman and you know you want to have kids and you haven't found the one, you should consider freezing your eggs. So
I completely agree.
I think this was a great podcast.
thank you.
Because I think it was really informative. I learned a ton
Yeah.
of stuff. And it was easy to ask questions, right? Because it's also very hard. You don't know whether you're going to offend somebody by asking them to speak about it. Yeah. And so the fact that you guys are vocal together as a couple is really, really powerful for the rest of the world that has questions. Even if I don't know, but I have a lot of questions.
Yeah. And I'm glad that you're willing to share, because I share everything, you know, I don't care, but I'm glad you're willing to share so that we can talk to other couples about it, because a lot of people we all know have done it and have never said anything about it because they've messaged us about it. And it's like, why keep that to yourself? Share it, you know? I mean, everybody has a choice, but to me, it's like transparency helps everybody. So if y'all have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. And thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.
See you on the next one.
Bye.